I'm Brian.
And I'm Liam.
This is the playbook.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. All right, Brian, as we said Monday evening, the consequences of our own actions being unorganized this week.
Yeah, this most definitely is future Brian and Liam's problem.
Well, current Liam and Brian's problem, but on Saturday evening when we decided to go for a few drinks, that it was future and Brian Liam problem at that stage, but
One or two. It started as one or two,
it
like it
did.
always does.
And then someone introduced Fireball whiskey, which is a good old friend of Brian and I's.
I'm not taking ownership for that. That was a you idea.
I think you're the one who bought the t-shirt.
I got the t-shirt free. But yeah, look, we were supposed to have a guest on this weekend, but that'll be next week. We're gonna have two guests on at different times. So next week we're gonna have a guest, and then the following week we should also have a guest. So we're looking forward to that. Some good conversations coming our way. But that's needless to say that you're a great conversation, Liam. So
Thanks, Brian. Likewise, I concur.
but yeah, like what are we speaking about today?
I think today we're gonna delve into a bit, I suppose, of what we found out about the differences and the benefits of your long-term thinking here in Dubai versus your
Mm.
popular short-term thinking among many people, owners, buyers, agents, all of the above.
Yeah, like we were thinking of trying to think of something to speak about and try to navigate through. And just from a recent example, like I mean, just thinking about examples of things to speak about throughout the week, they're fresh in your head. You can speak about them. You can really delve into the kind of the ins and outs, what you learned, what were the takeaways from that. And if that's not for anything, but for you, as I said before we started the podcast, for you to learn from what you can take from that situation.
Oh yeah, because this one's fresh.
This is fresh. The bandage is still fresh.
Fresh. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think it's really important to speak about this short and long term thinking, because it's never something that was kind of highlighted to me as something that's been important. I only kind of understood recently over the last few months, like what short term thinking will lead to is short term behavior, long term thinking, long term behavior. And in a city like Dubai, where nobody is really, well, not a lot of people have grown up here, you really need to change your frame of thinking. And as a result, change your way of being, of behaving.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have the idea of short-term thinking versus long-term thinking. Or short-term, I'm just going to be here for X, and long-term's this, but it is so much more than that. It's literally a state of mind, I think. And you really do realize it when it comes back around. Not to bite you in the arse. Not it wasn't something that I've done that's fresh, but when someone else is acting with that short-term mindset, and you see it firsthand, it really cements the difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what in your experience, like I mean, before we get into it, like I think it's important always for us to say like that we don't have this figured out. Like us speaking about these topics isn't us giving a lecture of why you should be thinking in the long term versus the short term. It's us discussing ideas and topics that are prevalent in our life and in our work, in outside life, and trying to make our way through that, kind of try and chew through some ideas. And if anybody else is listening, they potentially could be going through something similar, something that they face, especially in real estate, especially in Dubai, where there is a lot of short term thinking.
Why
Yeah.
do before we get started on that, I know why I think there's the short term thinking here, but why do you think the short term mindset is so prevalent here?
Um, I think it's changing, but like everybody always says they're going to move to Dubai just for a few years and then move back home. And in a city, as I touched on, as Dubai, where not a lot of people grew up here, some are residents, but the the majority of people that you will deal with on a day to day basis are expats. They only moved here and they think it will be for a period of time. Like if you're working at home, like the first question that you ask somebody when you meet them isn't, "Oh, so how long have you been in Dublin?" It's like people don't ask that. Like in Dubai, it's like the first thing you ask somebody when you meet them. "Oh, so how long have you been in Dubai?"
And you
Like,
get judged on it
yeah,
immediately if you're here in less than 6 months.
But it's like, oh, you're only new. I used to tell everybody I was here for 6 months until I got to 6 months, and then I was like, oh, I've actually been here for 6 months, and I was telling the truth. Because when I was doing my viewings on the first week, I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm literally just off a flight. Like I don't know anything. Like I'm here 1 week.
Yeah.
So like I think it's something prevalent because everybody's speaking about it. Like people are only here. Some people are only here for a short period of time. I mean, the jobs don't really align with long term for some people. Like if you be a flight attendant, I don't know if that's like a 40, 50 year old, like of you being in the industry for 40, 50 years. Like it's not really something sustainable. Like you hear people talking about being like primary school teachers, whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I'll move to Dubai, save up a bit and then come back home. So there's a lot of negative things that go with that short term thinking. So many personal experience that we can speak about.
I think definitely in real estate as well, where where it is possible, if you get lucky, to make money in that short term, and you can get lucky with that short term mindset. And I think that's why it's prevalent in real estate too, because if no matter what, if you're an air hostess or you're a teacher, if you're here for a year, you're not going to make $1 million dirham. But there is that possibility of doing it in real estate. I think that's why we see an influx in real estate too of people with the short-term thinking, because they have this misconception that, oh, I can come over here and get rich in a year, and I only have to be here for short-term. I don't have to be here for any great period of time.
So what's been your experience with the negative effects of short-term thinking?
Let's
we're
delve
getting deep into it. 7 minutes in and we're getting deep into it, folks.
I wish I could name drop.
Yeah, you don't want to completely out them.
No. We keep a bit of
We'll keep them on the wall.
Yeah. No, but yeah, so basically last week, an agent came to me asking that I have any particular a particular property that he could show his clients. I was lucky enough to say, yeah, absolutely.
Rental.
Rental. And we're always open to obviously working with other agents, helping anybody out, building those long-term relationships. Like that's the aim of the game. If I have to split commission 2 or 3 ways, that's no problem at all. Like if I can build a relationship while I'm doing it, that's fine by me. So anyway, I went to the viewing with the agent, not to be named, Mr. X. And anyway, first of all, he went to the wrong place, but we won't even delve into that. I was sitting in the lobby with the owner, waiting for him, and that's grand. Showed up late. Should have known with his timekeeping. I said, oh, anyway, showed up late. The owner was a bit suspicious that maybe they're the same clients, because she had also viewed with an English couple earlier in the week. I had asked him, were they the same clients? He said no. Later, I realized that he actually just didn't have a clue who his clients were. But anyway, he said to both of us, no, they weren't. You want to describe the clients? He said, no, that's not them. Anyway, they showed up 10 minutes later, and that was them.
They'd already viewed the apartment.
They'd already viewed the apartment earlier in the week.
With him?
With a colleague of his, someone in his own company, right?
It is.
So, long story short, he had basically rang the owner earlier in the week, said that his colleague had left the company and that the clients were now his, that they're willing to make an offer, whatever. And for whatever reason, I think the owner rang the colleague, and the owner rang the colleague and realized that it was bullshit anyway, and didn't accept the offer that he put through. So that was grand. So then what we found out was the agent then contacted me with the same clients, went and viewed the property with me. Obviously, he had never personally met the owner. The owner didn't know who he was. Showed up anyway. Grand. We didn't get to do the viewing. Clients had already seen the property, which he obviously knew already. And anyway, that was it. He went home. I was like, oh, look, they saw the property. Such is life. He didn't know it. They were new clients of his. These things happen. Anyway, the next morning, the owner rang me or texted me, and it's just like, just wanted to let you know, the agent from yesterday is after going behind your back, calling us and making an offer on the property. So just wanted to keep you in the loop, whatever. That boiled my blood at the time. But I was like, Grant, you know what? Go ahead, take the offer. It's a lesson learned on my behalf. And I suppose the big thing, I had a good conversation then with the owners. The husband and the wife both text me to be like, look, we're absolutely appalled by this. I said, no, continue with the deal, get the deal done. And yeah, anyway, listen, the way it finished up was they said, look, yeah, we'll get the deal done. These owners have a total of 17 properties on the Palm. They said that they'll never be working with that agent again. This one deal, they'll never apply to him again, and that they'll work with me long term. They gave me 3 of the other properties that are coming on the market, and it's a foot in the door for me building a relationship with them. Like, so as much of a sting as it is, it works out better for me in the long run. But it's just, obviously that agent had zero clue, first of all, who is dealing with owner wise, to show your true colors to an owner on the Palm that has 17 properties is outrageous. To show your true colors to us and our company, no one in our company now deal with him again. And he also snaked someone in his company at the same time. So he managed to make a show of himself to 3 groups of people with 1 poor decision or 2 poor decisions, purely because his short-term thinking and get this deal done and get X amount of commission for a 230k deal. Like,
yeah, it would have been like, what, like 3,000 dirham or 2.5 or something.
Is it really worth it?
No.
Do you know? But yeah, that was my sting of the week last week. First time, to be fair, it's happened to me since I came. So what's that? 5 months, 6 months? I've been in Dubai 6 months. It's the first time it happened. So look, you hear these things happening. It was good to get out of the way on a small deal like that.
100%, man. Like, did you go from, how quickly did you go from being annoyed to being like, all right, like this guy?
Probably actually in the space of, before I even finished the conversation with the owner, because the way first of all, fair play to the owner for calling me and let me know, because there's so many owners out there that were like, Grant, say nothing. But it was literally before I finished the conversation, because he was like, look, we're never going to deal with this guy again. We'll work with you long term. Here's what else we have. You've been unfairly treated here. This is what we're going to try and do. Like,
yeah, and they said that, like, you're somebody that will be working with the long term. But like, I guarantee you that deal will not go through. It has not gone through yet, and I don't think it will. Like, you're not going to have anything to do with it. Like, we're not the kind of people to try and like make that deal fall apart, but it's just not going to go through.
It'd be a bad omen anyway.
It will. And I can make a bet like that guy, in a year's time, nobody will know who he is.
Oh, I won't say he'll be here.
He won't be here. That's what I mean. He'll be gone back home.
Yeah.
Because like, he's straight off the boat. Like, so like, you can't be desperate enough of you, like, you know, suffering for rent for you to justify your irrational behavior. Like, that is just somebody just coming in with,
even the fact that he didn't know the owners.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're a Palm Jumeirah specialist, as he has in his bio, and he didn't know these particular owners, like anybody that knows the Palm, if I said their name now, they'd be like, oh yeah, I know them, they'd name off list their properties.
Yeah.
This man, clueless.
It's hilarious. That is the funniest. It's so funny, because like, the funny thing about
it wasn't fucking funny with me waiting until 7:30 to even to do with you, and that's
but like,
I'm glad you found it funny.
That story is so funny because of him not knowing like the repercussions, like, and you know exactly like what he's actually, like, the grave that he's dug himself, like. And those owners are well connected, like, as in they're in all the group chats, like, they're dealing with so many agents. They have 17 properties, like, so yeah, he doesn't realize how many bridges he's burnt, like, including within his company, outside his company, even you telling the story, like, to people in person when we share his
absolutely
name, like,
any agent I was working with, any agent that I get on with, they got a screenshot of who he was, like, do you know what I mean? Straight off the bat, it's like, look, this is what he's after into me. Don't even entertain him if he does. And that went to, just on my message, 10 alone. No doubt they will have shared it with whatever agents that they're close to or whatever.
Did you think, sorry to interrupt, did you think coming over here that is what the industry would be like. Like I feel like some people have an unfair like opinion of what the market and what being a real estate agent in Dubai would like. Like it's a dog eat dog. Like
I think I knew obviously because you had told me, but I think coming over here, why would you think it's like that?
No, but I don't think it is like that though. Like it's what you make of it. Like if you watch Dubai Hustle or Dubai Blink,
Yeah,
whichever
never
one,
watched them,
whichever
yeah.
one they are. Like I watched one episode and it was this guy snaking somebody else in the company in order to get a
TV,
deal across the line. I know, but people think TV is reality.
Yeah, and that's
like,
what you have
why
to
do you
do.
think people cry at Marley and me? Like, no, but people think that is reality. And when I first came, I remember speaking to somebody there, like, oh, like it's a dog eat dog industry. Like there's this guy in my company who goes behind other agents' backs and like speaks to owners and gets deals done. Is like, oh, don't list that with them, list with me. And I just laughed. And I was just like, part of me was like, oh, should I actually be doing that? Like, and then part of me was just like, no, like fuck that. Like
it's nothing to do with industry or anything. If you're a piece of shit, if
yeah,
you're doing it, like where are
the
your
owner,
morals?
the owner that you're working with, if they know that you're snaking out somebody else in the company,
Yeah.
they're not going to trust you. Like,
Yeah.
as in, like, if you are going behind somebody else's back and you're showing that you're untrustful to your colleagues, like they're going to assume that you would do the exact same thing
absolutely.
if you got a chance, and you would like, and like the industry just gets rid of those people. Like,
But
as in, if
go on, sorry.
no, like if you wrong me once, like as in if you go behind my back once, I will never work with you again.
Once
And you
bitten,
don't
twice
understand.
shy, like, yeah.
Like the short term gain equals X amount in my bank account. The long term loss is X amount in my bank account that I will never earn because of what I've done. Like, and this is the thing. Like the hidden metric, the hidden thing that you cannot see is the amount of money you would have made if you didn't do that. So the only thing you can see is the amount of money that you did make.
Yeah.
So you're pointing that as proof as why it worked rather than the amount of money that you didn't make because you can't see it.
Yeah, and it's more down to the whole thing of leading with commission. That's what you wanted to do straight off the bat. Like, didn't even give a relationship or building that connection a chance. You just wanted your extra 3,000 dirham, like crazy. But it leads into too, I suppose, the short and long term thinking of an owner as well. Because if an owner is happy enough to deal with that person, then they have the same issue. You know, they're just short term thinking. They don't give a shit. Get the property rented. I suppose they don't care about building that relationship too. So an owner that has that long term thinking, just tell that agent to fuck off.
Yeah. You have to understand like that. What I remind myself to is that like I'm only going to deal with long term people, like, and like short term people, like you get short term owners, you get short term agents, you get long term agents, you get long term owners. An example of a short term owner would be somebody who leaves their apartment vacant for 6 to 12 months, tries to achieve a high price in terms of rent, and then doesn't get it rented.
Ultimately, rents it for what you told him to rent it for 6 months ago.
Yeah, and a long term owner would be somebody who values good tenants, like that are there as long term tenants, and that would be paying rent every single year for 10 years, rather than, you know, 1 or 2 clients over a 5-year period that pay like above market price and then it's vacant.
Absolutely. Like we did the maths on a property of mine that was left vacant, that the owner just had a price on it that wasn't achievable for 5 months.
6 months, man. He lost 150,000 dirham.
Crazy. Do you know what I mean? And he thought, oh, well, if I can't achieve this price, I'm not in a rush to get it. And all we were telling him to reduce it by was 50, actually, for what it went for now versus what he was looking for back then is what?
70,000.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get that for it.
But he tried to he had it on the market for 300,000 to begin with, and then it rented at 230, like 70,000 dirham. Like that's like
70,000, right? But if he had to take that 230 at the beginning, he would have that renewed. Like, do you know what I mean? He had it vacant for 6 months. Do you know what I mean? So that's 115. That's 115k he lost out on for the sake of 70k.
Yeah, literally half of a tenancy contract. Like, but yeah, I actually haven't had. I don't know. I haven't had anybody, another agent like fuck me over. I've had a client fuck me over. Actually.
Oh, you haven't had another agent?
No.
Oh, let me be your first.
No, I haven't. Oh, that client. Maybe we should add him to the wall.
Which one? What's his name?
the not to be trusted wall. But yeah, I think I spoke about this, and he used the term, it's a dog eat dog industry.
Oh, that one. Yeah, yeah.
I have to look after my own. He had a contract signed with me. No. He had a contract drafted. He had an owner in London running around to make everything, get
Owner.
sorted.
What age was this owner
He
first?
was in his like 80s, and he was running around London making sure that service charges were cleared and that the property checked out and that he could print off the contract, get it signed. The client was leading us on, saying he's really, really interested. He wants this. He only wants this property, and he was ready to sign
Yeah.
it.
So the owner was doing what he could from.
Yeah, and we were bending over backwards for the guy with all these extra additional requirements, and he didn't say he was working with another agent looking at different properties. And then on the day of signing, like, he literally just called me and was like, no, text me, didn't even have the balls to call me, text me being like, I signed elsewhere.
Business is business.
Yeah. But then I was like, to the owner's son who was dealing on the property, I explained the situation, and he hit the fucking roof. He hit the roof, because I text back the guy, and I was just like, I'm not going to go down this guy's throat. Like, I was like, all right, whatever. I didn't think you were looking elsewhere. I'm disappointed. And when I told the owner's son what had happened, he went berserk.
Yeah.
Went berserk, and he was demanding that I gave him his number. I was like, oh, I can't give you his number. And he was like, but it's
just have a look at the contract.
I was like, but I sent you over the contract. And then he got the contract, gave the guy a call, and went through him for a shortcut. Yeah. Went absolutely through him. And
fair enough. Think of your granddad running around London at 8:30 on a Tuesday evening trying to get contracts printed off for.
And then I saw him like a few weeks ago, and he was avoiding me, like clearly avoiding me, like. And like, I'm here for the long term. Like, I'm going to be on Shoreline, like dealing in that area for God knows how long. And yeah, he I don't know if he realizes if he's burnt that many bridges. I actually haven't had any other agents.
The fact that he's avoiding you, he's shameful of what he did.
He knows he does something wrong.
Do you know what I mean? So you can't say business is business. It's dog eat dog. You're ashamed of what you've done, therefore you've done something wrong. Like.
Yeah, it's important for me to, like, for when I'm just deciding between like a short-term and long-term decision, like, I have to really kind of delay that gratification. Like, I have to think in the long term, like, what would long-term Brian want me to do here? Like,
future Brian.
Future Brian. Like, Brian in 10 years, what would he want me to make in this decision? Because I don't want to make any decisions that I fundamentally regret. Like, obviously the small micro decisions that I would, but yeah, for example,
like going out Saturday night.
Exactly. And then you try and justify it in your head and be like, oh, I deserved it. But anyways, the one example of that was when I told you this story the other day, where I was coming back from Thailand, and one of my clients I couldn't do a viewing with did a viewing with an agent from another company, and he did it in the property that he inquired on with me. And I was still speaking to him about the property. I was still giving him advice, saying that I was going to schedule this and this for him when I was back. Turned out he really liked the property. And then he said he was making an offer through that agent. Agent wasn't really around. He wasn't really answering his phone or something. Apparently he was in the UK, and he was in between Dubai and the UK, and he wasn't really getting back to him. And then the client was like, this guy, this agent, I don't respect him. I don't like him. I don't, understand what he's doing. So I want to make an offer through you. I was like, fine, because I had absolutely no idea. Like, I mean, who am I to say no to somebody when they decide to choose one service over another? I had no idea like who the person was.
And you had initially shown him the option anyway.
I'd shown him, but I hadn't shown him in person.
Him,
No, I didn't view it. And then I get this call from an agent being like, oh, hi, Brian. My client is trying to offer through you on the property that I viewed with him.
How did he know they were offering through you?
So the owner of the property, who was like a property manager, told the other agent that it was me from Elysian. And he was like, oh, Brian, this guy is really rational. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know, why he's making this decision. Like, is there any way that you just split this deal with me? Like, and he can still go through you and go through your man. And like, I didn't want to trust him. Like, and I didn't, because he came from a company that I didn't really trust based of what other people had told me. But like, yeah, the way I weighed it up was, yeah, I didn't want to burn any bridges. Like, and I knew deep down what the right decision was just to split it with him, because he seemed somewhat all right. Like, and I was just like, a short sacrifice of me taking a pay hit versus a long-term like relationship with this guy. And good thing I decided to to split the deal with him or tell him I'd split the deal, because it ended up falling through anyways. The client actually did to me what he'd done to that agent.
What a dick.
So the client was a bit of a dick. So we didn't close that deal, but I still showed the guy the bit of respect or the bit of long-term thinking of, yeah, like I'm more about building relationships here than earning a quick buck and then dipping. Because it would have been egg on my face if that didn't go through. If I denied him splitting the deal and then it didn't go through, then as a result, like he's like referred like
here,
a good bit of business to me, like and
even that like company. You have vouched for him. Do you know what I mean? I've reached out to him and was looking for properties here or there and wherever, and therefore he's reaching out to me. Do you know what I mean? So if you have the group of people that you trust and people that will vouch for you, do you know?
Yeah, it was funny because he left the company that he's working for and he said that the company were telling him to snake me out of it then as the deal was progressing.
But look, when
he was saying no as well.
When there's companies pushing that and there's managing directors and managers pushing that way of thinking just to put mushy, they don't give a shit. Like it's not their face that's screwing people over, you know. They don't have to.
Well, like it's their brand, like it's their company. They should like by rights they should, but like it's just managers and company owners or directors or whatever who's in the short term thinking. They have some
money made, like
there's shit all the way to the top. I think Chris Williamson spoke about this. It was just like, oh yeah, like these owners, these managing directors, these CEOs, you expect them to be, you know, a perfect kind of person. It's just no, like they're idiots too. They're idiots too. Like they do this, they're facing the same issues as you. They make bad decisions like you. They make worse decisions by you, but just by a number of factors, they got to where they were. I think it's important to understand that there is shit to the very top.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose there's two experiences on short-term thinking. One good, one bad. Lucky enough, you got blessed with the good one.
Yeah, lucky enough. Like I still haven't. I'm trying to think. Other than that, I haven't, because if somebody does, you know, do me a turn like that, like I'll just never deal with them again.
Yeah. As you were saying earlier on, I don't think you explained that. Maybe we should have his face on the wall.
Who's?
Your client.
The client.
You didn't explain.
That would be kind of weird.
You didn't explain what the wall was.
Oh yeah, the not to be trusted wall.
Not to be
it's
trusted.
Kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, fair. There's a wall in the office. There's a wall in the office, and yeah, any snake or literally the not to be trusted wall.
Yeah.
And whoever, any of our colleagues or whatever, if there's someone that snakes someone or you hear someone snaking someone, they get printed off and stuck on the wall. So
yeah, it's in front of me and Liam's desks, and I find it so funny. A few months ago, our old or somebody told us to put your vision board like in front of you, like and people were putting up like villas and like cars or whatever
and watches,
and we've got a wall of people who wronged
snaky
us.
Fucking agents.
Who is the enemy? So when I'm lacking motivation or I'm lacking any desire to keep working, I just look at them and it's like, yeah.
Look over at Bryanson and just steam coming out of his ears, staring at the wall. And growling at it.
Oh, it's so petty, but I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely love
Who is enemy?
Who is the enemy?
Yeah, but that's it, I suppose. Like, and that's where your short-term thinking gets you. It gets you on the fucking Elysian wall of snaky agents.
Brian and Liam, wall of not to be trusted.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be there.
You don't want to be there.
But that's it. Like, that's your short-term thinking. I suppose from a seller's point of view, or an owner's point of view, what's your short-term versus long-term thinking? Obviously, we touched on it there with the rent prices and everything like that. But is there anything else you've experienced dealing with owners rent that you're like, why can't you change your mindset? Like, why can't you see what I'm trying to tell you here?
I think it's, I think I kind of touched on the whole owners things. Like, you do get a lot of that. But like in terms of like buyers, like investors, like I was speaking to a guy just before we came home, and he was talking about the market being overpriced. And I said, yes, but it depends what you're investing for. Like if you're investing for a short-term flip, like invest and then flip and then sell and expect to make a lot of money. So there's not a lot of those around. if you believe in the long-term vision of Dubai, if you believe in the city and its potential growth, if you believe in what's forecast in terms of the population growth by 2040 and everything that's going to be here, then you're investing in Dubai in the long term, and that's a completely different kettle of fish. If you believe in the rental market,
hindsight's 2020. Like people
this
look,
is what I say.
people looking at transaction costs from 2017, 2018. I mean, it's too late now. Like, so when you didn't know it was happening in 2018, and if you looked at it in 2019, you probably would have said, "Oh, price have gone way up. I'm not going to buy it." Like, there's no right time.
But this is it. Like, as in, like the people who were buying in 2008 and 9, the people who were buying in 2018, 2019, they didn't think they were getting themselves a hell of a deal. They thought, like, they obviously they couldn't project how much it was going to grow by in 3 years. If they could, they'd be fucking Warren Buffett. Like,
and I'm sure when it was in the middle of COVID, they were like, "Oh fuck, this was a bad investment."
Yeah, it's as I said to the guy, I was like, it's only hindsight gives you the proof that it was a good investment at the time. It's like everybody invested in Bitcoin when it was at 20,000, being like, everybody else is like, oh, it's way overvalued. It's not going to increase, and then it goes up to whatever, it went up to 45,000 or 50 or 60,000. And like they had completely missed the boat. Like, as in, it will always feel like the wrong time because you don't have the proof into the future to show that it's a good investment. Yeah. It's only looking back in the past. And that's the whole idea. Like, you don't know. Like, you don't know if it's a good investment. Only when you've done it.
Investment
you can look
is
back.
like,
but you can say that about anything, man, actually, to be honest. Like, as in, they always say that, like, about the toughest thing about being like an entrepreneur or a businessman or whatever is not knowing. Like,
no matter how much work you do, you still will never know. Like,
you won't know until you've got the thing. You look back at your old self and be like, oh, it was coming all along. I just didn't know.
That goes for investing in, though, investing your time or investing in whatever, even moving over here. Like, you don't know what it's going to be like. Do you know what I mean? Or you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years. And any investments, time, money, or emotions, whatever.
Yeah. Like, I was speaking to the client that I sold that unit to in Azure at that time. The way he was able to future think, like, as in where like his time horizon was just like, the way he looked at time was just like, really, I learned a lot from it. Like, he was just like saying that, like, that he believed in Dubai as a long term. Like, he was here with his wife, his girlfriend at the time that he's proposed to. Like, he's like, I'm going to be here for like almost the rest of my life. I really like
does the young guy?
Yeah, the young guy. Like, and he was able to be like, worked out the maths of it, like, and said, this is probably going to be a good investment. I believe in Dubai city's growth. It aligns with who I am now, so I'm going to invest in it. And it's only been like 6 months, and the property's gone up like 300 or 400K. Like, but he doesn't want to sell because.
But even if you look at the results of him having that belief, his friends buying property over here through him. Do you know what I mean? Because he didn't have to sell something to them. Like, he just showed them his vision, and they trusted him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he obviously clearly believes in it. If the most trusted people of his been like, fuck, well, if he believes in it, I should probably hop on this train as well. Like, and he, did he have friends that invested in off plan then?
Yeah, because he could point to this as being like, oh, look, even I did it. Like, as in, like, it's the whole idea of selling it with conviction again. Like, as in, like, if you've bought something and you like the product, you're going to recommend it to everybody. But that got me thinking about, like, the way that I look at time and the way that I look at my time here in Dubai. Like, I initially said when I was coming over, before I came over, to everybody like that I was speaking to, oh yeah, I'm just going to give it a year, see what happens. Like, if I enjoy it, I'll stay. If I don't, I'll leave. You don't know after a year. Like, you don't know. Yeah. And like I say, like, if I don't see myself here for 6 years, like, why should I be here for 6 days? 6 years just happens to take me up to 30,
But I think the fact that you don't know after a year is a sign. Like, I knew after a year in London that I didn't want to be there.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? So if after a year, if it wasn't for you, you would have been like, okay, fuck, now get me out of here. Like, I think they say 6 months, isn't it? 6 months. Should I get that out, Liam? 6 months in a new place, and you know supposedly after that if you're gonna enjoy it or not.
Yeah, and I don't think you'll ever fully know, but like, I see myself here for the long term now.
Yeah, you won't ever fully know, but you'll definitely not know. You'll know
when it's off.
Exactly.
You'll know when it's wrong. I was listening to Alex Ramosi podcast and he was talking about being an entrepreneur or whatever, being a businessman and setting up businesses. And that every man has about has about 40
yeah.
years of working, like after 20. So so like let's say you're 20, like you could have like you'd be working until you're 60, like in an ideal world, whatever, maybe 55. So that's 40 years. He
Fucking
said
70 if you're in Ireland.
but he said in order to know if something's going to work or not, you need to give it 5 years, like a business that you set up. So he said essentially everybody has 40 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so everybody has 8 rolls of the dice. So like that can be terrifying for some people and it's not terrifying for other people. It's just like, let me give everything to this for 5 years. And then if not, take the chips off the table, invest my chips into something else for 5 years, and then just rinse and repeat. Like,
I think that's easier said than done though, because if you do it once, it doesn't work. You do it twice, it doesn't work.
but for 5 years, 5 years,
You've spent a lot of cash in that 5 years. Like if you truly put everything you've got into something for 5 years, everything, you can't just, okay, after 5 years, fuck it, right, start something new. Well, I suppose if you look at it from the side of doing it, working as if that thing starts as a side hustle, like that starts while you're working as something else.
Well, no, he meant like set up a business just by yourself, like do whatever, like, and it doesn't have to, like it working is completely different definitions for other people. Like it not working could be you not enjoying it. It not working might be that it's not taking home, $1 million per year, or it might not work because like it could be whatever.
What would it be for you? What would that definition be for you? If you give something 5 years, so you're giving this 5 years, would your hope in that 5 years that it makes you rich or you discover your passion?
I don't think it's either of those, man. I think it's more me not, like in 5 years time, like I don't want to be stressing about rent. I don't want to be stressing about like car payments. I don't want to be stressing about if I'm going to make enough this month. Like I just want to be making enough to maintain my quality of life and then actually be building something that's higher or that's got like a bigger meaning than what I'm currently doing. Like as in something that I have like passion for, like, and I know you're not going to like spring out of bed every morning to do it, but something that I can build by myself that would be like, okay, this is something that I have built, or this is something that is sustainable. This is something that, is clear.
Yeah, and do you think that you wouldn't find anything that would get you springing out of bed on a Monday morning? Because you hear so many people saying like they absolutely love what they do. And I think, and obviously, like if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
I don't believe so.
Maybe you just haven't found your passion yet.
No, like as in like they speak about this, the guy who wrote the War of Art. Now, I've never read the book, but I've heard people talking about it. As in like even your passion, if you're doing it for work, will feel like work during periods. Like if you can think of people who absolutely love their job, like not 300 and whatever days per week they're going to jump out of their bed. Like, I mean, you will have periods of loving it. You will have periods of flow, but you're not going to just love it.
Going to the gym.
I don't love going to the gym.
You fucking drag me off enough that you love it.
Yeah, no, I don't love it. Like me loving it is just not a factor anymore.
What do you do? I suppose it goes rant like that. What do you love doing? Do you know what I mean? There'll still be a day where like I don't love doing it. Well, look, I hate going to the gym, but I love it when I'm there. Do you know what I mean? I love being in the gym. And maybe that's the same as, say, finding your passion in work. Like,
yeah, I think there's nothing, like I like doing these podcasts, like, but like there is elements of it feeling like work. There's nothing that I love. Like I try and take liking and disliking something kind of out of the equation. Yeah. Like as in
just do it. Like as in
remove the emotion from the action. Like as in me in the gym, there's never a time where I love it. Like because
at all.
No, because I don't look at that. I don't expect there to be an emotion of me doing it. Like as in I'm doing it because it's required. It's like me waking up and doing whatever at a certain time. I don't love that. Like as in I try and like it's not the enjoyment of doing the thing. It's doing it because I know it's required. Like
no wonder you're in such a mood the whole time, bro. You hate doing all of this stuff.
I don't love it, but I don't love it or
fucking
life. I don't love it or hate it. Like it's just same with meditation. Like most mornings I don't want to do it. I mean, no, I'll tell you what I love. I love sitting here at the weekend when the sun is coming through the window
We have
and
coffee.
I'm drinking a coffee and I'm reading a book. I fucking love that.
Mm.
But that's not to say that my passion would be drinking coffee and reading books for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like, there's periods of that within.
My
the
guy
thing
just
that I
wants to
do.
retire.
I just want to retire. But it's easy to romanticize retiring and drinking coconuts on the beach until you're there
Yeah.
for a week and you realize there's nothing else to do.
I crack up.
So it's not really a factor. Like I like the idea that it's become such like tripe about like, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah.
But like,
I wrote that in my journal this morning.
but it's about who you build on the way. Like,
yeah.
But there is something to be said about actually enjoying it. Like there's a quote, like the man who loves walking will walk further than the man who loves the destination.
Mm.
Just like if you do the thing for the enjoyment out of the thing, if you don't actually hate it, you will do it for longer and harder than somebody who's just fixated on the goal. What about you?
Well, I actually don't know where this all started off, but kind of going back to that of the man who loves walking, and the reason I was kind of thinking about that this morning, about it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, is more to have that gratitude for the shit situation, not the shit situation you're in, but for the situation you're in at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not living luxury, do you know what I mean? Or we're not going away on expensive holidays. And maybe that might be the destination. But just when I was thinking this morning in the 5-minute journal, I was like, just being grateful for being able to go to work. Do you know what I mean? And that for me would be enjoying the process. You know, get to go to work with my best friend. Fucking, I have to see him 7 days a week, but like at least I get to work. Do you know what I mean? It'd be worse sitting in an office working with people you don't like.
Yeah.
So I suppose kind of zooming back out and seeing that as.
But that's going back to the whole long-term thinking again, like as in, like you understand that it's about the person, it's about the journey, it's about who you build on the way. Like, and man, like as in you will learn so much about yourself, like within this industry when you're forced to be in an uncomfortable situation. Like through those periods, you learn so much about yourself. Like I think you've come on so much in the last 6 months.
I was even just thinking, if you were to take yourself out of this industry now and put yourself into any other industry, and you'd run rings around everyone, like, do you know what I mean? If you were doing what you were doing at a salary-based job, who would be doing that? Like, do you know what I mean? Who's gonna be doing that work ethic and doing everything you do, coming into the office and doing a full day's work on a Saturday and being on the phone on a Sunday, maybe if you need to, or staying first day and last out. Like, you're not doing that if you're working a salary. So like, even that alone, like getting that wired in, invaluable. Like,
but I don't think if I was in a salaried role, I'd be doing as hard as this, like, because you would have that safety net. I know what you mean, but like I think that's what's so unbelievable about like performance-based roles, like about sales, about setting up your own business.
Yeah, even as Dean said, if you went back and did real estate in the UK or something, and you were doing the stuff that you're doing over here, do you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the beauty of a performance-based role, because you do have to push yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah, that's why I absolutely love it. Like, and that's why, like, I think, yeah, that I would always veer towards the sales aspect. Like, I like sales or setting up a business or whatever. It's disgustingly like uncomfortable for periods. Like,
you never know what's going to happen, which is the good thing. You know, that was the one thing when I was working in the UK. Like, going in on Wednesday, I know exactly what's happening today, and if like, and the only variable thing that can happen is something that wasn't supposed to happen, therefore will add stress to my fucking day. Do you know what I mean? So nothing good is going to come from this day that I don't already know is coming. Whereas over here, you don't know what the fuck's around the corner. Do you know what I mean? You get a phone call and that could make you money, or you get a phone call that could lead you on to an opportunity or whatever. But talk about gone off topic.
Yeah, that's an absolute tangent. But I think we're tying in bits about that there. Like, it's not about the short term reward. It's like, yeah, the short term is easy. The long term is just right. It's true to yourself. It's
the delayed gratification. Yeah. When you step back and look things, that's all it is.
I think if you delay gratification in all aspects of your life, it will transfer into what you do professionally. Like, if you just practice delaying that gratification, like in a lot of aspects of doing difficult things, going to the gym every single morning, not expecting instant reward or instant results from your actions, then it will transfer. Like your behavior will map that. Like you will do things that you understand are for the long term, and you'll see the bigger picture. Because there's a lot of, in my experience, there's a lot of people who don't see the bigger picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even from first-hand experience, like not that you don't have to get snaked, or you don't have to someone go behind your back for you to see people with a short-term thinking and that landing them in situations that are uncomfortable for them. Even like there's a guy in the office at the moment and has that short-term thinking of, oh, I need this, I need the big sale, like I need this sale because this is going to get me rich. And instead of just, as you said, long-term thinking, okay, I need to tick over with these rentals, keep me ticking over so I can get that big sale down the line.
Yeah. Deals closed versus commission earned. I'm gonna say that until it's out of fashion, like, because by you valuing just dealing with the most amount of people, the amount of doors that you potentially unlock, rather than you closing one big deal once per year, deal with two people, and then for them to never
5 years time, no one knows you.
Still nobody knows you. This is the thing. Like that's my fear. Like the biggest detrimental like issue with people who haven't closed in 6 months isn't the fact that they've made no money, they've made no progress.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows them. Like nobody outside the office knows them. They're not a specialist in any area. They're nobody that's going to get a random message in 6 months' time from somebody who's might actually look to buy instead of rent. Like last week I had two of those on the same day. Like an old owner that I rented his apartment was asking me about a renewal and just mentioned the fact that he's trying to buy something that I have. And if nothing comes of that, so be it. But like, there's just an opportunity that's landed. Like there's luck. Like people will point to that and be like, "Oh, that's lucky," but no, it's not.
Generated luck.
It's literally generated luck from me doing of thinking long term and just closing deals. Because that was
you didn't think doing that rent that he's gonna inquire on a sale, at the end of the line.
That was such a small rental too, like such a small rental. Like a lot of people would brush that away, and I only closed that because another agent from another company looked at that as a small rental and brushed it aside.
Yeah,
little did they know who they were dealing with, like in the sense of the owner. But yeah, I think that's the bulk of it. To be honest,
that is the bulk of it. Yeah, to be fair, from our experience, short-term thinking is not the way to go over here. From what we've gathered, anyway.
Yeah, you don't realize the amount of bridges that you're burning.
A detriment that is for yourself.
Yeah, because you'll never know, and it's going back to the whole thing. Like you only have proof from looking back at something in hindsight. You don't know how many doors you're closing.
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, that's quite terrifying. Like you don't know how many doors you're closing by.
Yeah, absolutely. Opportunity gone. Like, just like that short-term thinking once could close off that opportunity that would have made you rich. Like
yeah, mental. So, question of the week.
I was just about to ask. Have you thought one?
No. I didn't think about one.
I'll go first then.
Okay.
I suppose I've literally just thought about this when we were speaking as well today. Over the last year, what would you have? So this is what we ask our whatever guests we get on. But you've been here over a year now. So what would you have done differently in the past year? Or if you had to go back now, if you could go back and speak to Brian getting off the plane from Ireland, what's the one thing you'd tell him that you got wrong and you only realised during the road?
Like I'm always hesitant to think about that, like as in, because like if I did things differently, who knows of where I would be now? It could be worse, it could be better. Like
basically, what did you learn for the better?
But no, one thing I would do differently, like, would be like get rid of that self-doubt. Like it doesn't serve anybody.
I don't even know if you can accept that as an answer, because you can't get rid of the self-doubt without being here. You couldn't say like
But
you
like
couldn't go back and
there was
say
no
to
need for me to be walking into a company and not have any faith in my capabilities or my abilities to do well in any job. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I had serious self doubt. Like, it's something that I always used to suffer of. And like, obviously, I didn't have any proof, but there was similar things that I'd done in the past that could correlate. Like, I just walked out of a sales job where I was in it for 4 months, and then I was like, I broke records that be held in the company for 8 years. Like, as in, like, surely that's good enough proof that that can be transferred into another sales job, or that you actually are decent at something once you put your mind to it, and that should be okay. And I just didn't have that. Like, there was so many periods of self doubt. Like, when I go back through my journal of like, yeah, me not knowing if I was cut out for it or if I was going to do well or whatever. Like, I just ignored those and did the thing anyways.
trust in your own ability. Like,
Yeah, but it made the process so much harder than it needed to be. And making the process harder, I'm so caught up between that, like, as in, like, because like I'm such a victim of making things harder, unnecessarily harder than they need to be, in terms of like, okay, this is something that's difficult that I'm going through. Let's make it harder. Like, as in, like, if I'm here by myself, like, let's make it hard by me not socializing with people, me not having a good group of friends.
I don't think
Me
you
being
did that.
hard,
I don't think
me
you did
being
that to
hard on
make
myself.
that harder though. You did that to make it possible.
Yeah, but like, as in, I kind of enjoy it being difficult. Like, if like I correlate
Yeah, fighting
something,
yourself. Like,
yeah, something being difficult and it being worthwhile. Like, but not everything worthwhile is difficult to obtain. Like, as Mark spoke
not everything
about.
difficult is worthwhile.
Is that what he said?
I don't
Mark
know.
said it in the podcast, in his podcast, but he said, not everything difficult to obtain is worthwhile. Like, so, like, you shouldn't correlate how difficult it is to get something with how worthwhile it is having it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so that was something that I would do differently. But I do struggle thinking that, because, like, I mean, 10 times out of 10, if I went back, I would do the exact same thing.
But the process obviously taught you that. You couldn't just be
Yeah,
like,
true.
come here and be like, oh, you know, I don't need to have self doubt. Like, that process of you doing the thing and putting the paint down is why you can look back and say, now I didn't need to have self doubt. There's no possible way you could go back and tell yourself, oh, I don't have self doubt, because you now wouldn't know that without going through that.
Yeah, true. But like, when I think about my younger self, like, it's just like, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. Like, it's not going to be that bad. Like, and just self-critical. Like, as in, there obviously is self-doubt there, but you don't have to be so self-critical. Like, to the point where it just disables you. Like, as in, yeah, like, and it meant that anytime I achieved something that I didn't appreciate it, like, I'm like, oh, like, you know, actually enjoy appreciating it. It's just like, right, when's the next thing? When's the next thing? When's the next thing?
Yeah, brush it off.
Like, yeah, like, I remember coming home like one time to my mum in my last sales job, and I had done something unbelievable. Like, I'd done like 7 deals or seven sales in like one day, like, and like, nobody else had done that. Like, and like, straight, the first thing that came out of my mouth when I was sitting down for dinner, I was like, oh yeah, but like, it could have been 8. Like, I missed out on one. Like, Brian, stop being so fucking hard.
Why didn't I get 10?
Yeah. Like, stop being so hard on yourself. So like, there's pros and cons to that. Like, it meant that I'm just like constantly driving for the next thing. Like, but then it's important to reflect and take stock and be like, okay, like, I did something good. Like, I'm proud, but like, I'm not satisfied. Like, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, once you can take that step back and realize that you're after accomplishing something, and give yourself a pat on the back, if that's even all it is, like a pat on the back.
Yeah, literally, like Alex Ramosi said. Actually, I completely forgot what he said. So I'm not even.
He said a lot of things.
Yeah, he did say a lot of things, and I plagiarized a lot of it. But me telling other people about it makes me learn it myself.
Harvard reference and below all the podcasts.
APA was my standard reference tool. My question for you, Liam. That was a good question. Thanks.
No problem.
My question for you. Shit, I can't think. My question for you is, if you had all the money in the world, like, what would you do? Like, what job would you do? Like, what is it that you love doing? Like, what do you find yourself entering periods of flow? Is there anything that you do that when you do, time like goes by quickly?
I genuinely don't know. And I think that's like about what finding your passion is like. I don't think I've particularly found mine yet. Like there's loads of stuff I love doing, but I think your passion is more than just what you like doing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So to be honest, I don't know, and I think it's something that it takes time to figure out. And I think that's why I'm kind of working as many different jobs and as many different cities as I can, just try and see like what is that passion and what kind of gives you that spark. If I had all the money in the world,
and you could set up like one business,
I don't know, man. I'd love to
talk
have.
to me about.
I'd love to have like like barbershop / cafe / thrift shop, all set up on the beach, made out of like shipping containers.
Nice.
If anyone fucking copies this now, I swear to God. Oh, it's patent anyway. So
yeah. Actually, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I think so. Something that you can be completely creative with. That's completely up to you. That'd be such like if you had all the money, that'd be such a stress-free job.
Yeah.
What I do today. Will I cut hair? Will I be a barista? Will I work?
Where it doesn't matter if it makes money or not. You're just doing it for the pure enjoyment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Somewhere scenic, somewhere where people can come in and chill, enjoy themselves. Like I love going into places that I like being. Like, you know what I mean? Your house is like that. You know what I mean? Like sitting in your house is so like it's calm. It's probably just me looking at you for the yard is not a calm house, but like such a nice place. Like there's just a few places like that where I'm just like, I fucking love being here. Like whatever feeling it gives you. I'd love someone to be able to create somewhere like that.
Yeah, good energy.
Yeah.
My house is so uncoordinated. I looked around at it like a few years ago being like, nothing in this fucking house matches. And it's just literally because my mom was like, oh, I want this here.
Yeah.
I want this here. I want this here. And it's just expression of creativity, expression of what people are like.
Because I like it.
Yeah. And it is. It's a nice, like, it's a nice feeling. I know the feeling you're on about. Like I always kind of romanticize setting up my own like coffee shop.
Places you go where you're just like, oh, I don't want to leave. I just chill here for a while.
Yeah. Like creating like those kind of places.
But yeah, I think that's it. I think still looking to find the real purpose. I literally have no clue. Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I think
it's something to do with helping people. I definitely think helping people. I find so much joy in helping people, even with little shit. You know what I mean? Like if someone couldn't do something at work, showing them. Do you know what I mean? And just being able to help people out with small stuff.
Yeah,
even.
Yeah. The important thing with that I learned was you do have to fill your cup first. Like as in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what it is. Like fill your cup first, and then you can. Help a lot of people, like, and I think that's where the true meaning is. But we will see, man. We're only 24.
Only 24. Yeah, absolutely. At this age, it feels like you're getting old. Like I feel like once you hit the 25, it's like
mid-20s.
Yeah, open the door. But
that's
a bit of a strung together chat this evening. That's strung together, but.
Going with the flow.
Yeah, obviously we were supposed to have a guest on Sunday, but they weren't feeling the best, and neither were we. So it actually
neither were we, to be fair. We can't throw them under the bus, but appreciate everybody who's listened so far. It's always nice to see that there's people listening, and we had a lovely weekend this weekend with the Sunday social or the
that was social. So nice actually.
Yoga
so
and
nice.
Coffee, so
something a bit different, and like even you can. The group's starting to grow, which is nice, and I can even in the chat, like everyone's talking among themselves. People who didn't know each other a week ago. So hopefully we can keep that growing and get a few more people down and meet a few new faces. And
the link for that is going to be in our bio. The link for that is going to be in our Instagram. But that's the bulk of it. Look, thanks for everybody who's been listening to the episode. Really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Brian. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Liam. Pleasure as always.
Good luck.
Good luck.